We're up. All right, we'll call the December 5th Raynham Conservation Commission to order. Paul, could you read?
All public hearings and meetings heard by the Raynham Conservation Commission on Wednesday, December 5, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. in the Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall, Donald McKinnon Meeting Room, 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass. Are relative to filings and joint hearings and/or meetings under the Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, and the Town of Raynham's Wetland Protection Bylaw.
All right, thank you. We'll start with the accept the minutes from November 7th. Did everybody get a chance to read them?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded to accept the minutes from November 7th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Any bills? Any bills, Gail?
Okay, Nate.
Any correspondence?
I suggest you go back to that later.
Okay, all right.
Same with
And-
site visits.
Yep, okay. I'm sorry, do with what?
Same with site visits.
Okay, all right.
That's going to reviewing the dates.
Yep, okay. We have the schedule for 2019. Anybody have any concerns with those dates?
Motion
Not at the moment.
Motion to accept.
All right. Motion been made and seconded to accept the 2019 dates. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. All right. We're gonna go to informal, and we're gonna have a continued discussion regarding 51 Richmond Street. Azu, do you want to start it off?
Mr. Higgins just turned around and dropped us off.
Yeah. I don't have the names of the abutters on the plan. Do we have the original file? Did we get Mr. Chairman, did we get a report to go with the plan? Well, last time we were supposed to get a report.
No report yet. We're still not done. All we gave you was a progress plan. We still have to put in bounds. We have a split rail fence and a few other small items that need to be done before. I'm not sure what you meant by a report.
Well, status of the project at this time. What's
The status is, that's the status.
What has been completed?
Yeah, everything is done. The replication areas are planted. We have vegetation on the grass. Driveway's complete. House is complete. Like I said, we still need bounds for the. I think there's calls for 4 bounds to delineate the replication area. There's a split rail fence on the proposed plan, and I think that was it. It might be a couple other small items. But we're not, at this point, we're not done. Hopefully, the weather's going to allow us to complete those items in the next couple of weeks.
Mr. Chairman, if you're looking at the, well, we just received this, but anyway, looking at the plan, it appears that the work thus far is following what they showed up here. The front of the building is a little bit different with the entrance. The entrance steps, but that's about it. 30. The elevations that they propose, it's actually a little bit, about 6 inches lower than what was proposed. So they didn't fill as much as they had proposed and that was approved. But I will suggest that when we went out there, I don't have the names on the plan here, but so when you come in from Richmond to your left, a couple of houses to the left, they have been doing a lot of work. Do we get to have that information?
It's gonna be 661.
Yeah, so at number 61 Richmond, I believe it's Brent and Ashley DeLong Champs. Is that how you say it? Okay. So it's quite a lot of work, alterations going out in the back of their property, actually near this property here. And I think the commission needs to take a look at it, and obviously it's work that is being done as well without a valid approval from this board. It's clearly in the buffer zone, and I believe I think we need to notify them and go on the property, meet with them there. But I believe they actually some BVW filling an alteration, so the commission needs to have a couple members go there. And then issue an enforcement order. Because if you're requiring somebody like these people here to go through the process of obtaining an approval, file a notice of intent, and get approvals, then everybody else should be doing that. So I think we should vote to issue a letter to them, letting them know that the members of the commission will be out the specific date and time, and then to identify for them the areas of concern. And then the commission should be voting to issue a cease and desist order. Actually, the office can issue a cease and desist order, and then you can ratify it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think they need to be notified.
Impacting this property?
Pardon me?
Do you think that work is impacting the property in the neighborhood?
Oh, it's impacting the neighbor that is actually Miss
Roberta
was the
Indrasen.
Indrasen.
yeah, Indrasen's property.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that also needs to be noted that that is the case.
So we did a survey, and the surveys were hard to do, so we had to do a lot of research to survey that property line. And that's when we discovered the property line is, it's all staked out and delineated now.
Right.
The work that these people have done is, I'm not a wetland scientist, but even I know they filled wetlands to do what they did.
Yeah.
Took all their trees and stumps and pushed them onto our property, tangled in between all the trees. And I don't think anything should be done until you people figure out what you're gonna do, but there's a mess on our property. And again, just to echo what he said, we're trying to do everything right.
Well, the commission cannot have anything that if they took down trees on their land and put it on his land, it's a civil matter. That's not the commission's responsibility. However, it's your responsibility in terms of alteration of a resource and the buffer zones associated with the resource.
The damage they did to our property is in a wetland.
Right, but
Okay.
the damage they did to your property, to the extent that it affects your property, it's a civil matter. To the extent that it affects the resource, it's a conservation matter.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think Miss Indrasen sent quite a few correspondences to the commission.
Yep.
And I think that the commission should address a response to, because there's a lot of contentions and representations that, in my view, well, knowing the area, that to a large degree a mischaracterization of the functions of the commission and its actions. And so the commission ought to be able to respond to that.
Okay. Any of the commissions have any questions for the applicant or Azu?
Well, I would think that until we do this site visit, what can we do?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a broader scope than just what's in
Right.
front of us right this minute.
Well, clearly, there's other work been done in the property that impacts all of the neighbors there, and we have to go look at that.
Yeah.
In response to our request from 2 weeks ago, to him to lay out the as-built plan and matches what we had approved going forward. Do we have enough information to verify
That's correct.
that?
I just would wish that we have a summary, whether in the form of executive summary from the engineer saying this is what has happened, this is what's left to be done, and this is the status of the project.
Can you provide such a
Well,
report, summary?
We'll give you a summary, but we're also going to give you a letter, once we get there, we're going to give you, a request for a certificate. We're also going to, the engineer is going to hopefully be able to state that we're in substantial compliance of the approved plan, standard format. But if you guys are going to go out on a site visit, if I could be there, I mean, you don't have to let me be there, but I would just like to at least show you in person what I believe and what's going on, and what, again, we're not here to hurt anybody, but it's just, we're trying to follow the rules, and then to see this go on, it just seems.
No, well, that's what, I mean, we can.
Mr. Chairman, if you have any 3 or more of you guys going out,
We have to post
then it
it.
needs to be posted.
Yeah.
They have to let them know the time and date of, because it's 2 parties involved, so they have, the boat owners have the right to be there if they want to be there. But we need to notify them as to that.
Well,
But I will, when you finish this discussion, I will recommend that you vote to, subject to your on-site, vote to authorize the office to issue an enforcement order as appropriate, and then to be ratified at your next meeting, so that the wheels are turning.
I'm sorry, could you just restate that again?
So, when the discussion is done for tonight,
Yep.
I recommend that you take a motion, entertain a motion.
Oh, okay, all right.
Right, to authorize the office to issue an enforcement order subject to the site visit of the commission, and that enforcement order to be ratified at the next hearing.
Okay.
So that it will then become very effective, and then you have some teeth to it.
Okay, all right. All right, this time I'll open it up to any discussion from the audience. Ms. Anderson?
My name is Roberta Indrasen. I live at 57 Richmond Street in Raynham, and apparently I am a very close abutter to the 51 Richmond Street. And I have a few comments and corrections that I would like to have on the record here. Number one, let's not change the focus to my neighbors next door. Let's put the focus on what happened that has caused all this water to infiltrate my property, their property, and other people's property, and causing us to have to take action. So we need to find out, go all back to square one, who did what, who okayed what, why is this happening, and what can be done to fix it. All right, that's number one. Number two, you mentioned in your discussion that everyone has the right on their property to do what they want. That's what you said in the last thing. I have the video of that. And now you're attacking these people who's trying to save their home. I don't know if I can save my home. I certainly can't save my yard. My yard is so far underwater on all sides now, it is almost good for nothing. Absolutely good for nothing. Now we have wood chips. What kind of bugs, insects, animals eat in the wood chips, stay in there? Termites, all sorts of rodents, everything. You know, another choice of something might have been a little bit better. Also, I think the last meeting, there was a lot of tension in this room, and I think I was bullied. I really do. And when I watch the video and I see the expression of everybody's face as things are being said and done, I just ask for as much respect as I give. What I need is for a solution to keep the water out of my property, because I have no benefit to my property. I cannot use it. I cannot walk on it. The dogs cannot play on it. They're covered. They hurt themselves when they slip on the mud. There is no, I don't know if this is a word, functionability left to my property. That has to be corrected. After talking to Boston, they said that these things are under all your bylaws, everything that Raynham does, the conservation does, everything. So I hope that you can come to terms with this and fix it. Just fix it. So I have my property back, so the neighbors next door have their property back, and not 2 feet of water in their cellar, which was unusual. And I think there's a lot going on here, and I think putting up a fence or planting some grass is not good enough. You need to find something, some way, to take the water and take it to a spot where it can go into a drain or another facility. I don't know the words. I don't know how to describe what needs to be done. I just know it has to be done. I have a right to the value of my property to be restored. I first asked you in 2017. You never answered my letter. I asked you a month ago for a copy of the order of intent. I don't have it. I've asked for, my mouth gets dried, I'm sorry. I called last week for a copy of the order of intent. Why do I not receive correspondence? Why? I never received it in 2017. Here is 2018. I would like to be treated with respect. Do you have an answer?
I have a couple of responses, yes.
Okay.
You all set?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. The order of conditions, I believe we stated to you at last meeting, you could come here and pick one up. That's a public record. Okay. I do believe we've been treating you with respect. I disagree with that. If we hadn't, we wouldn't be going to all this extent to try to figure out what's going on. I've personally been out to your house. We have been addressing these issues. So I think some of the statements aren't, totally true. But we are doing our best to figure out what's causing these issues. And I guess it's a work in progress. That's, we've identified,
In regards to her last letter, she has it dated November 7th. It wasn't postmarked until November 28th. We just received that letter.
okay.
No, I handed it to everyone when I was here at the meeting,
The last
and then I sent a second letter, because I didn't hear anything.
I'm just saying, I only got it the 28th of November, that second letter.
Oh, okay.
And
That
it was
could be
dated the
correct.
7th.
So,
To the issue of, and I take an umbrage to the fact that the statement here that it's a distraction from this property to look at the other one. So if you're going to investigate a problem, and if you're a cop, and you're going to investigate one problem, and see crime being committed, gee, you're supposed to ignore that crime being committed and then deal with this one because that's one you've been sent out to. I don't think that makes sense. It is incumbent upon this commission to follow the facts where they lead. If you go out there and see other problems, you need to identify those. You don't say, well, we're here to only look at this. You have to look at it. You have to look at it holistically.
and I agree with that statement. We have to look at it as a broad picture, not just focused on one avenue. So by noticing what we have and steps we're taking in the process here, we've identified a possible issue while you're receiving water on your property. So we are trying to work through the process, and by Mr. Andrunas providing us with this information, that's one step in trying to solve the puzzle here to try to come to a solution, a resolution here.
The water to my property, the overabundance of water to my property started in 2017 and all summer and prior to what my neighbors did, prior. And I notified you.
I can't answer that because I do not know the dates, exact dates I was out there.
Okay.
I apologize for that. I don't write down the exact dates. We get complaints, we get stuff, we just go out and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But keep in mind, I said this to you last meeting, in the last month and a half, we've had over, I think it's up to 32 inches of rain now. So, and the ground is frozen right now. You can drive anywhere in town and see standing water on people's property. It's not percolating through because the ground is now frozen the last few days.
Absolutely.
So like I said, just keep that in mind.
Yes, I do.
I'm not saying anything else other than that we've had an historical amount of rain lately. So,
But it started in 2017 with the photograph I sent you of a big, big pond in my yard, which was unreal and new, brand new in 40 years. We didn't have the rainfall then.
like I said, I can't answer specifics of that photograph. I don't have it in front of me, and I just can't answer that.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to tell you is we are working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We are trying to get a solution to this.
All right.
And like Azu said, we follow the facts where they take us.
All right.
And that's all we can do.
All right. The land was recently surveyed. It has been surveyed 3 times that I know of in the last 5 years. Each time the stakes have been put in different places. Now they're on my property, so I am where I'm not supposed to be, if that's the one you're going to take. But the other 2, the stakes were 3 feet over.
I have no answer for that. I'm not a registered surveyor. I can only go with the information that is provided on the plan. If,
And if, Mr. Chairman, if the contention, the commission is not empowered nor authorized to adjudicate boundary disputes.
No.
So if you can only go by what the certified licensed surveyors have shown on the plan and put on the ground. Now, if she believes that those stakes do not accurately represent the boundaries, then it would behoove her, in my opinion, to retain a qualified independent land surveyor to actually go out there and verify. The commission cannot adjudicate boundaries.
No.
You can't do it based on hearsay. You have to look at what is. That's why these people are trained and licensed. So the only other avenue available to her will be to hire an independent surveyor if she believes that those stakes, if they are identified as property boundary markers, that those in fact were incorrectly placed, and then they can hash it out.
Okay?
Well, I went by the ones that were there when I purchased the home. They were set up, and then I went accordingly.
Yeah, like I said, I can't.
But it's very strange in 3 years that the stakes would be in different spots.
I have no answer for that. All I can go is, like he said, the registered surveyor puts his stamp on it. He's taking a legal stance that those bounds are correct. So,
What are we doing now? What are conservation and everyone else, what are you doing now to prevent more water flow or to empty what I have? I have 2 feet of water, almost the whole yard, back, sides.
we're working on trying to find out where the water's coming from.
I see.
You have to give us the opportunity, now that we've identified a potential source, we'll call it, at 61 Richmond Street. Now we have to investigate it to figure out what's going on.
That added to it. But I'm not complaining about that because he's trying to save his home.
It doesn't matter, ma'am. You've opened the door.
Mhm.
Now we have to follow it where it goes.
But remember, 2017 was the first time that it was brought here, and something should have been done before the house was up.
Before that house was up, we had public hearings.
I was here.
We had information that was put forth. We went back and forth, and this is the plan that was approved in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act
And when I came forward,
and the town of Raynham's bylaws.
yes, I understand. And when I brought my concerns here, you said you would do everything in your power if the quality of my yard was impacted by anything done by the wetlands, the water. And it has.
And that's what we're trying to establish here. Was there any damage inflicted onto you by the project?
No, Mr.
I
Chairman,
see.
Maybe I'm misstating
No,
it.
you are. Well, sorry to say that, but because there are so many factors that affect both surface runoff and groundwater runoff flow. Okay, the only way you can actually establish whether the problems from here or from number 61 is to do extensive geohydrologic study. So your function really, you have to be very careful, in my opinion, to establish, does this project meet the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act? Has it been built that way? That's what you're looking at, because I can assert or allege that this is causing the problem. You don't know that.
No.
You don't know that. So to say that, and it's not the Commission's responsibility if in fact, and that is why I suggested, okay, that's why I suggested that she hire, and it will behoove her to do that. So just as she hire an independent surveyor and or engineer to establish, because these people are making the contention that they are not causing the problem. And all you can do is verify whether in fact the plan that you approved was adhered to. If they follow that plan, then that's where investigation ends. Because, as I stated just a few seconds ago, there are several factors that affect water movement: ground cover, activities on her property or not. Okay, so I think if these people here are indeed, and that is really, again, it will behoove her to hire an independent person to make that a determination. It's not your function to determine whether these people are causing the problem, because that will be a civil matter. It's like Board of Health, when Board of Health approves a septic system, that does not make this Board of Health responsible for the failure of that septic system, because that's why we have statutes, we have regulations. That's what guides your function and your decisions. So.
Okay. All right. So do you understand where we're going?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Any other comments from the commission?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm understanding. Are you saying that prior to 2017, your land was never had water, flooding of any kind?
Not like this. Where in the back of my swimming pool, that's where I have the filter, and it doesn't come with the on and off. You have to unplug it, okay? Up until this point, that's been there 20 years, I've had no problem. Now, I have to stand in water and unplug it and plug it. That's why I closed my pool, because it was a safety issue. In the corner there, I never had water. And the dog, the Labrador, was swimming in it. So it was up to 2 feet there for the first time in 40 years. On the side of my property, where it looked like a lake for the first time in 40 years, that happened in 2017, right after the driveway was dug, I don't know if dug is the right word, but filled up and built up to the point. And that's when everything started to become not balanced.
Okay.
I live in wetlands because it's Raynham, but I'm so used to that, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there, but it drains out. Right now, the trees will rot, everything. It's not functionable for me anymore. And it happened in 2017. The beginning of it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Just one second. Go ahead, ma'am. Could you step up to the mic and state your address?
My name's Lynn Roth. I'm at 75 Richmond. I'm 2 houses south of Roberta on the same side of the street.
Towards the east.
North-south. I'm toward 44 from her house.
Yeah, all right.
So, my husband is Jim Rothwell, and he can't be here tonight. He's up in Boston. So we talked before I came here, and we have 2 questions. One, was there a hydrologist or a water study person who produced a report about what was needed and wanted so that the water would continue to flow the way it was observed to be flowing? That's my first question. And I don't know if you guys know, but we have that question, and we want to know. And I think I heard that that's what you wanted. You're interested in that also. Was there somebody who did a study or who wrote, put in writing what needed to be done so that it would work, so that they could dig out a hole, fill in some mud, the water would be, the swamp would be replaced, or the wetlands would be replaced. I think that was the #1 concern, that the wetlands would be replaced. And, you know, they took the spotted turtle off the endangered list and everything because they did that count. I mean, there was something going on. I don't know who it was, if it was a hydrologist or whatever. So anyway, the second question is, so I forgot. But anyway, you don't happen to know the answer to the first question yet, do you?
Well, it would have been to Surveyor for that,
Yeah, so
for the plan,
So,
this plan.
going back again to what the regulations require. If you look at under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, because these regulations are designed to protect the public. That's what they are for, safety, welfare, and safety, welfare, and health of the environment and the public. In Massachusetts, at least up until this very minute, when you are doing a single-family house lot, the regulations do not require you to provide stormwater calculations. They have thresholds. You have to reach up to 4 house lots or 4 residential units in order to be required to comply to stormwater management. However, what you're also required to do here is not to breach the contiguity of wetlands. So in other words, when you allowed a crossing of the wetlands, because the Act under 310 CML 10.53E allows, you can't deny people the use of their land. So the regulation says avoid. If you cannot avoid the crossing, minimize. And the last item, mitigate. The minimized, the mitigated. So what you have to then look at, the provision that is allowed you to exercise is, before giving them any certificate of compliance, that they have to provide you a final as-built, provide you a report from the engineer certifying that the work is in compliance with the approval or not compliant. Now, you can't issue a certificate of compliance because in your order of conditions, you require 2 calendar growing season, not seasonal growing season, okay? And the regulations allow 3 years for them to comply. So I think that always needs to be at the forefront, what the regulations allow you to do and what the regulations do not allow you to do. And you must, in my opinion, follow the guidelines. Now, you get in trouble when you start skirting the rules.
Does that answer your question?
Just there was one sentence that I didn't understand. There needs to be a certain number of residences or a 4-family
If you have
in order to have
a single-family
something.
house lot, you don't need to do the stormwater calculations.
Stormwater calculations.
Yes, drainage.
Drainage.
If you have a single house.
If you have a single house lot,
And that's what he's got?
yes.
Okay.
It's a single house lot. If you were doing a development,
Got
More
it.
than 4.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so then what all of that blocking the water thing was about was the driveway. The driveway was going to stop some flow, and so he was required to put some piping in or something like this.
to cross the wetlands, in order to get across the wetlands.
Yeah, so they knew somebody knew which direction the water was going in. I didn't know. I mean, we guess when we look, because we think half the time the water goes like from some of my neighbors. We kind of keep an eye on where the water's going, you know, you can kind of tell whose water's draining into whose yard type thing. So we think that a lot of times it's like a lot of it goes down into the forge, and then some of it comes around behind Samitra's house across my street, right? And you can hear it. It goes over in the Dam Lot Brook, right? I mean, it's kind of cool, but it all goes down to the Taunton River, which is just on the other side of 44, which I remembered my other question. Is the Taunton River a heritage river?
Oh, I don't know that answer.
Yeah, well, every perennial stream, Taunton River is a perennial stream, so it is
It's a perennial stream, is that what you said?
right, which means it flows year round.
Yeah,
Taunton River, yeah.
Yeah.
So it has a riverfront associated with it.
yeah,
So back to your point though about the direction of flow, if you have a defined channel, then you can establish the direction of flow. But what this crushed here, you have a body of wetlands that
Yeah.
is flat, okay? The piping
Yeah.
isn't designed to provide for directional flow. It is designed to be an equalizing pipe.
Yeah.
Because that wetlands area on both sides is level.
so that it can't
So-
pile up on one side.
That's correct. So that pipe is supposed to, and that's what the engineer needs to verify and certify for us, that in fact that pipe is an equalizer pipe.
So that would put it on the other side of
Because
the driveway.
otherwise, you will starve out a wetlands area. That it has to maintain that connectivity in order for the wetlands to continue to function on both sides of the driveway as wetlands.
So if they know which direction it's going, it's got me if it needs to go around your driveway. If it's supposed to go under your driveway, then it's going to the guy's house on the other side of Roberta's house, right?
No, it goes out to the back.
Out to the back, behind Al's house. That's behind Al's house.
Behind our house,
Behind your house.
towards,
But your driveway's out in front,
right, but it crosses the driveway at the corner.
and it goes around the back of your house.
And behind your house, whatever was flowing is still flowing.
Yeah.
That hasn't
Okay.
changed.
Yeah, okay. All right, anything else, ma'am?
Just, no, the Heritage River question, I have more research to do. I don't know what it means yet. I just got I have a little bit of information, so it's kind of dangerous. It's not like I can talk about it really, you know?
Okay,
So that's why I had to ask.
yeah, good question.
Have a good night.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, anything else? So,
Just real quickly.
yep, I'm sorry, yep.
So I just want to say again, if we could meet on site, I think we can answer a lot of questions. If there's something we can do to soften the problem, we're glad to do it.
Yep.
But we need to,
Yeah, at the end of,
You know,
at
in
the
all
end of
due
our
respect.
meeting, we have a site visit scheduled.
just.
We're gonna
let
lay
me-
it out
just
and,
let Gail let me know.
we'll
and
let you know.
I'll meet you anytime, okay?
okay.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you very much.
Ma'am in the back? If I could just ask everybody if you can just keep this for a couple more, we have a huge agenda tonight.
Yes. Okay, I'm Ashley DeLongchamps of 61 Richmond Street that you're talking about. We did not fill in wetland. He's just very angry. He came onto our property the other day, and I went outside because he was on our property taking pictures with the surveyor, and I just said, "Hi, how's it going?" And he said, "Not good. You filled in wetlands and you put trash on my property." And I was like, "I don't think that." I'm like, "The barrier's right there. I thought that was our property. You thought wrong. You should have paid thousands of dollars instead of me for the surveyors." And just kept yelling and saying, "Don't you dare move anything because I'm going to get the conservation officers out here." We did not push any. We did not fill in his property. We did not fill in wetlands. I understand the concern, but he was angry, and it was just not. I don't want him on my property. If you are going to come out to look at it, that's fine, but I do not want him on my property.
Okay. All right, since you're here,
Yes.
I'll ask you formally right now, do we have permission to schedule a visit to come out and look at the proposed work that was done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you just give Gail your phone number,
Yes.
we'll notify you when we go out.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's wrap this up. We will continue this to a site visit, and we'll go from there, okay?
Sounds like a
All
plan.
right, thank you. I'm sorry, ma'am, we have to wrap this up. We've been 45 minutes here, okay? We have a huge, huge agenda. We're, like I said to you, we're working on it, okay? We haven't forgotten you. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go up to formal, notice of intent for DEP file number 269-0967, 295 New State Highway, map 14, parcel 222, and I'm not even gonna try with the name. I apologize.
Don't worry about it. You can say Azuz's last name right there.
The gentleman in the nice gray suit.
There, there.
Just say hello, she can-
Star.
In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Raynham Local Bylaw, the Raynham Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 5, 2008, at 5:30 p.m. in the Donald L. McKinnon Meeting Room in the Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall at 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass., on a notice of intent filed by HAL Properties of Raynham LLC. The applicant proposes to construct a 5,200 square feet retail building with associated parking, utilities, and grading within 100 feet of the bordering vegetated wetland. The property is owned by HAL Property of Raynham LLC, 1665 Boston Road, Unit B7, Springfield, Mass. 01129, and is located at 295 New State Highway, Raynham, Mass. Map 14, parcel 222-A.
Thank you, Paul. Go ahead, sir. State your name and your firm.
Thank you. My name is Nick Dufresne, Farland Corp. Civil Engineers and Land Surveyors, here tonight representing the applicant, Mr. Abuzid. The subject property is identified as 295 New State Highway. The site currently has a single-family dwelling on it. It's in disrepair. No one is currently living there, I don't believe. A little history on the project. We were here a few months ago to get the wetland resource areas approved by the board. We did receive an ORAD for that. We are here tonight to seek an order of conditions for the construction of a 5,200 square foot retail building with associated utilities servicing the building, parking, and drainage areas. As stated, the building's approximately 5,200 square feet. We've proposed 35 parking spaces to service the building. Stormwater is collected via a catch basin on the east side of the parking lot. That's going to be directed to a stormwater treatment unit before going underground behind the building to an underground drainage area. We are proposing to bring in some significant fill in the site. Currently, it slopes down off of 44 very quickly, so that will have to be brought up to grade to meet Route 44. So around the outer edges of the proposed work, we have proposed a retaining wall to sort of keep that grading at a minimum and any disturbance to the riverfront area. I should mentioned earlier, we do have riverfront area on site associated with the Taunton River. The site was in existence prior to 1996, and also in that time, the town of Raynham has installed a sewer easement, which you'll see is located along the edge of the Taunton River. So this area has been previously degraded for that work as well. We've tried to minimize the impact that we are having on the riverfront area on site by keeping the building and parking and everything associated with that as close to the road as possible and still meeting the zoning setback requirements. As stated earlier, we are seeking to have an order of conditions issued tonight, and we can accept any questions that the board might have.
Thank you. Just refresh my mind. Is this right at the set of lights there across from Shaw's? Okay.
Correct.
All right.
There's quite a bit of a dip there as it comes off of 44, as you iterated.
Okay.
He's going to have to do a lot of fill. That's pretty much just on the 44 side, correct?
Right.
The existing building that's there, what's the footprint look like in relation to this footprint?
I mean, it's a typical Cape-style house. I mean, I would imagine it's probably about 40 by 24.
So we're twice or three times the size of the...
Approximately with the new building, correct. That house there is really not in uniform with the rest of 44.
Yeah.
It's a business district, and there's businesses located on each side currently.
And with your corner of the building, how close are you to the closest wetland flag there? Would probably be number B7, B6.
Yeah, so if you look on the grading utility sheet, you can actually see the water line, but that's actually a non-jurisdictional wetland.
I'm sorry, what sheet are you on?
Sheet 4, you can see the outline of the wetland line. The flag numbers aren't on there, but the building and the parking area in the back there does extend into that wetland area. But during the ORAD process, it was determined that that was non-jurisdictional.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Why would it be non-jurisdictional?
Because it's not connected hydraulically to any of the wetlands. It's isolated.
Okay. But we're still within 100 feet of the
On
road.
the river, yeah, you're still in the river front. And then you have to look at the alternative analysis.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments, or?
Well, I know it's kind of taking long, like every other project that we have. I think it might, because we have another meeting in a couple of weeks, right? I think I'd like to see the proposed parking on the riverside staked, so we can kind of visually look at the relationship of that work to the, okay, because you're looking at it on the plan. I've been out at the site, but I'd like to see that area marked out. And then also the question I have you talked to the sewer department?
We did, yeah.
And they're allowing you to tie into that easement?
So the existing house actually currently ties into that easement.
And they're allowing you to use that?
We're going to be using the same connection, correct? We talked to the sewer commissioner.
And for your stormwater, you've got a good sizable recharge.
Correct.
Okay, and so your overflow is to that apron, right just above the isolated non-jurisdictional wetland.
Correct. It'll come out of the retaining wall on that side. There'll be a pipe coming out of that with some riprap area.
So we need, unless I overlooked it, yeah, so that retaining wall is a structural wall, right?
Correct.
So need to see that it's at least 4 feet high.
Yeah, in that area, it'll be above 4 feet. We've called it out as retaining wall by others. In other words, it's going to have to be designed structurally by
Right,
structural
so
engineer.
we're gonna wanna see, because when you are putting the pipe right through it, and the structure, wanna make sure that that does not, weaken that wall. So
I mean, I
we're
think
gonna
that
need
would
a-
probably be something that would come up maybe during the planning board
So
process.
we wanna see a structural engineering design stamp on it.
Yeah. We've required that before on retaining walls like that are structural.
That are approaching the wetland.
Because you did it on Master, on Geico,
Yeah, before.
Graco, on 44, yeah. So,
Have you been to planning board yet, or are you still on the?
We have not. In our initial preliminary meeting with some town departments, it was suggested to come to conservation first to deal with the wetland resource areas. They didn't feel that planning board would have too much opposition to this, so they suggested we sought approval of conservation first.
The only thing I know we asked to show on plans a lot is where it's kind of a tight area is winter snow storage, where it's gonna be.
Okay.
And we may want to think about some type of maintenance plan as far as salt, where you're so close to the riverfront.
well, you can order that.
Or the
You
conditions.
did that on Walmart on Broadway.
Yeah.
Winter time.
Okay, I'm good. No.
Anybody else have anything? All So you good, or you have anything else?
Yeah, so if they can stake it out so we can go out and look at it, and then we can try to draft an order for next meeting, but at least physical look at it, and then provide us the structural detail.
Sure. So if you take a look at the plan, if we staked out which is the extent of really of the work, the retaining wall that wraps around the parking area, if you stake that, would that work?
Well, yeah, that'll be fine. Give us those angle points.
Right,
changes-
yeah.
Changes in direction.
Couple online on the long lengths.
Okay, our next meeting's in, can we fit it in?
That's up to you.
No, that's up to you.
Well, at that point.
You make the game plans, Gail.
When are you going to planning?
As soon as possible. I mean,
Well, we're having an issue with the 19th, that's the whole
Okay,
problem. The first meeting in January?
We'd like to get approval here first before we went to planning.
We're not doing meeting on the 19th?
We are, but there's an issue with that night, so that's why
Oh.
I'm trying to,
I mean, I think
You know-
we can get these minor issues, taken care of before the next
If they
meeting.
address it, right, we can draft the order for you.
Could be a quick-
And it's circulated for your review. And then we'll do the inspection. And then if we do the inspection and find something egregious, then it's a no, it doesn't go anywhere.
Again, historically, sometimes planning makes changes, has you make changes that predicate you having to come back to us. And if we've closed a hearing, we've approved things, you've got to start all over again.
Right.
And
Amend the
we
order.
want to mitigate that,
What have you.
so.
Correct.
Yeah,
So we
that's
want
a
to try
gamble.
and
So
synchronize.
that's kind of a
with
gamble,
planning.
like he says.
Yeah, yes, gamble.
So,
It-
that's happened in the past.
Maybe wise of you to, at least get partway through planning or through planning.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the issue with that was that planning wanted to know that because there were conservation issues on site, that conservation was okay with that. I think that's what the issue was before they gave their blessing.
And I,
Being that we are along the river with the riverfront
I mean,
area.
I just think we've addressed our concerns, I don't know if that would make them happy or not.
I mean, I think they're gonna say, do you have approval from conservation? I'm gonna say no. And they're gonna say,
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that's, it's chicken or the egg, which one comes first, so. I mean,
like
that's
you said,
that's their prerogative. They ask you to make a decision and you make a decision, and there's changes. I mean, we did that on not one, not two, not three, on a few projects.
Especially with the parking area
Yeah.
being close to the river.
Yeah.
If they're going to ask you to make changes for fire access and that sort
yeah,
of
well,
thing.
that's actually one of the things we addressed already. It was an issue in our department
Okay,
meeting, was
okay.
access on three sides of the building, so
Right.
we provided that. I don't
Okay.
think, I can't see them asking us to push the parking lot any closer to the river.
Okay. But if you do, then you need to come back to us
Right, it
again.
would be
so-
an amended notice of intent, or,
How far is the parking from the river now? How many feet?
I mean-
Sir, I'm sorry, could you just go to the mic and
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
address it? Just state your name.
Is it? My name is Ali Abu Zaid. I'm the owner of the property,
Thank you.
and I was wondering how far it is. I guess what Nick is saying is, from the conservation side of it, does it show any issues that we should worry about? Or is the plan, conforms to what we're doing? That's the biggest thing there for us, that we want to make sure that there is no conservation issues after that. Of course, it could be changes to the actual building or the layout, but the site itself, where all the square footage, I don't think we're going to change that much at all from that point. So that's the biggest concern for us, is
All right.
to move forward with the conservation, like I was talking to Azu about.
Yeah, no, I've been.
Like wetlands, as far as the wetlands, the drainage from the
No,
property, all
we've-
that stuff.
We've looked at it, it's pretty well drawn out plans, but we just want to physically look at
Okay,
on the ground what you have
I understand.
relative to that river bank.
That's all my
Yeah,
concern. Thank you very much.
definitely, whatever they do with the planning board, I can assure you, I wouldn't be recommending that they go closer to the river. If anything, you want to be going
Right,
away from
away
the river.
from the river. right.
Exactly, we would like to do that too. We don't want to be close
Yeah.
to the river.
if they have
Thank
to expand the parking lot into the river area, then you gotta come back to us. If it is the way it is now, then I don't see any major issues with it. But I would like a site visit. I wanna see the amount of fill that you're gonna have to put in there to bring that up to grade.
Right.
Because that's a concern.
Okay. Is this, that the site visit something you like the engineer and the applicant at, or
No, I don't think we
in
do.
case there are questions?
Just about let the office know that you've got it staked out.
Sure.
And then we can schedule to go out. But, and we will let you know when we're going out.
Sure.
If you want to join us, then that'll be up to you.
Okay.
Sir, I saw you had your hand up.
I'm Jack Gamache. I was the previous owner of the shopping center to the right of the plan here. Question, just out of curiosity, are you changing the curb cut location?
Yes.
Have you been through the highway department yet?
Mass Highway? No.
Good luck.
Thanks.
They're tough to deal with.
Mhm.
Before you get to these guys at the planning board, you gotta resolve that issue. It's a definite stopper.
I think we're improving the situation, pulling the curb cut away from the traffic light. So we'll take our chances.
Okay, so.
That's more of a planning issue
Yeah.
than the conservation, as far as, because if they're not gonna curb cut, then they don't access the property.
So, how quick can you get the, the staking done?
I mean, we'd like to get it done before the next meeting, so. If
Yeah,
you-
they'll stake it the day before the meeting.
No, no.
We have to have ample amount of time. We're all volunteers, so.
Is there another meeting this month, or are you talking January?
We have another meeting the 19th, but we have issues with the meeting, so.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to get everybody into January. We're having very short ones.
If we could push it to January, that would be appreciated.
January 9th?
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Well, you're not gonna be digging foundation in December anyway.
Appreciate consideration, we'd like to stake it out. If it doesn't work for the 19th, yeah, sure, we can.
That'd be-
It's early January, it's the 9th.
It's the 9th.
We'd appreciate it if we'd continue it to the 9th.
Sure.
Okay, all right. All right, so I have a motion then?
Well, Mr. Chair, I
I'm
don't
sorry.
know if anybody else in the
I'm
audience.
sorry, anybody else in the audience? Thought we had everybody. Nope, okay.
Motion to continue notice of intent, DEP file number 269-0969, 275 New State Highway, map 14 partial, I'm sorry, 222 Alias. I'm sorry, I had the wrong numbers, 269-0967.
Okay, motion been made,
Second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, next up is notice of intent for DEP file number 269-0969, 275 New State Highway, map 14, parcel 224, Jack Gamache, Store Self LLC.
January 9th. Green cards.
And the word is.
Find it,
When
thank
you do
you.
the job, it's dangerous when you do it.
Right.
Just one second, sir.
Yep.
Have to read it into the record.
Yes.
This is the 24 font.
Gotta put Paul in the glasses.
In accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Raynham Local Bylaws, the Raynham Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 5, 2018, at 5:30 PM in the Donald L. McKinnon Meeting Room in the Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall at 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass., on a notice of intent filed by StoreSafe LLC, 775 Pleasant Street, Unit 9, Weymouth, Mass. 02189. The applicant proposes to expand an existing self-storage facility within the buffer zone of a PVW and riverfront area along the Taunton River. Work would be located approximately 37 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland. The applicant also requires review and approval of a delineated vegetated wetland line and associated resource areas. The property is owned by Raynham Assets LLC, 27 Jason's Path, Walpole, Mass. 02081. The projected site is located at 275 New State Highway, Raynham, Mass. 02767, map 14, parcel 224.
Welcome.
Welcome. Good evening. My name is Al Trachemus. I'm with SciTech Environmental. We are the site engineers for the project. With me here this evening is Jack Gamache, the applicant and tenant at the property. The reason I have the plan here in front of you from Merrill Associates, this dates back to 2003. The site itself was, the storage facility was built in the early 80s, and in 2003 application had been made to expand, to do work in the front portion of the plaza, as well as adding 3 permanent structure storage facilities to the rear. Those buildings were not constructed. However, the planning board did approve the entire project at that time. We've had discussion with the building inspector, and he's had discussion, I believe, with the chairman, and it's our understanding through emails and telephone conversations that we do not need to go back to planning board for this. So what you see in front of you here, that's the existing conditions portion of the existing storage facility. There are 3 buildings there now. Those 3 will remain. And there is also an existing drainage basin, detention basin in the front, and this line with the green color represents the previously disturbed area on the site that it's currently used, especially over this side, is currently used for storage of automobiles, trucks, and and additional items on the site. What's being proposed is to eliminate that storage area that's that currently has the automobiles, trucks, construction equipment, and what have you, and to put in the 3 new storage units. There's 2 differences between what was previously proposed in 2003, and that is the storage units back in 2003 had approximately, were proposed to have a total storage area of approximately 11,400 square feet. These units will have 10,725. There's a little less storage being proposed, about 5 or 6%. Also, the storage units that were proposed back in 2003 would have had full foundations. They would have been basically built as buildings. The units here that are being proposed are relocatable. They come in modular, as modular units with full flooring on them. So essentially, we just need to provide them with a level area. Come in, I hate to use the word storage container, but it's similar not in construction, but it's similar in placement. We provide a level pad area. The units come in, they drop them off, and we're ready for business. The drainage for the project currently, on the previous plan that's down there, we have a detention basin in this corner of the property. What we're proposing to do is to put all of the stormwater mitigation underground. We'll have underground infiltration, and we will also have underground detention to address the runoff rates between what exists out there now and what is being proposed. There will be no changes to the outlet area. The detention basin has an outlet control structure in the lowest portion of the basin that connects to the stormwater system. We'll have the same, maintain the same connection, and if you look through the drainage, we'll be mitigating any increase in flow. Essentially, that is the project. The big change is that we won't be required to put in full foundations for these. Right now, we're thinking that it's just going to be a paved area, flattened it out, worst case scenario, a slab. But the units will be placed. And as years go by, if a different unit mix is warranted, then they can change out the units. They're not locked into a permanent structure, even though their locations won't change on the property. With that, I would just like to open it up to any questions that the commission may have.
Azu?
The only issue I really have is you're putting the building on your drainage.
They're relocatable. It's no different than a storage container. They're not. We can do it.
So how do you propose to access and maintain and service the drainage system?
We'll have cleanouts. We have the infiltration area let me just get myself orientated with north. Drop down one more plan. The infiltration area will be located on the southerly side of the property, and that will be between the storage units, so there is no issue at all in accessing that if it needed to be maintained. And just want to check one item here.
Right, so if it's going to be maintained, where would you relocate the storage units?
We shouldn't. Well, we shouldn't need to. The infiltration area on the southern portion is not underneath any of the units, so there's total access to that. The units would not interfere with any type of maintenance on the infiltration system, which we're not really looking for. Maintenance on the infiltration system, it should operate fine. And also on the detention side, if worse came to worse, we would have to temporarily move those relocatable units to gain access.
And you talked about the detention and recharge.
Right.
And this is taking surface runoff, isn't it?
Excuse me?
It will be taking runoff from the driveways and the pavement.
Yes, it will.
So, how do you meet your TSS removal? In
the infiltration area is strictly the roof runoff. That's the mitigation. So we don't need a TSS removal for the runoff from the roofs of the storage units.
Yeah, but you have the ground flowing into that too, right?
Yes, we do have. We do have the contact, the mechanical.
Yeah, you have the trench drain.
Right.
Yeah.
And we do have the mechanical storage that meets the 80% TSS removal.
Was that a storm scepter?
Not storm scepter. It's a CDS unit from Contact. They give a better removal rate for the fine particles. It's in our opinion, anyways, it's a little bit better unit than storm scepter. And those calculations are in the notice of intent, and we received those directly from CDS.
I don't see any of your test bit data for your recharge. So to figure out how you develop your ROS rate. Yeah, you take a look at the soil maps for the area, but then you're supposed to do on-site soil analysis to verify that is consistent with the source map.
Rather than go through the plans this evening, there were test pits that were done out there. I do believe they're in the plan set, but if they're not, I will get them to you.
Yeah, they're not on this plan.
Okay, I will get that to you. There were 2 that were done, 1 on each end, so.
And when were they done?
I have to check the record for that. I've got to look at the soil log itself.
I mean, because it was done in 2003, is that still good data, or would they have to do new ones?
Well, if the area hasn't been disturbed since they did it, yeah.
Well, we'll look at what they have in the groundwater application. So we will need that.
Okay. The area hasn't been disturbed.
Anything else, Sazu?
Sound good for now.
Any comments from the commission?
So essentially, there's no excavation for a foundation for these buildings. This could be a poured slab.
I'll defer to Jack as far as what it's going to be. It can be simple as putting it on a leveled area of pavement, or
Is this a paved area already?
The storage area is not. The storage area is the storage area, but they do not require a foundation, a full foundation.
The units are considered relocatables. So they come to the site.
Sir, I'm just sorry. Could you just step up to the mic? Else I'm going to get
The
knocked
units
out.
themselves are, as the photo shows, they come on a flatbed, essentially 10 by 40, 10 by 30, and you mull them together. I have a plan that essentially this is the reflective the units themselves, the mix that you get on it, and it gives you the ability over the years to add more 5s, more 10s, whatever you have. They're essentially, what you're seeing here is a pad.
Okay.
The site is essentially paved, and those are the designated areas, nothing more than where these will go, as you can see. They're different sizes, there's aisles in between them, you know, they come and go.
What I think he's getting at is, you're going to have to remove the grass surface and put down either concrete or tar or something.
Right.
It's all paved. The area right now that you're missing, I guess
Well, your plan shows this area being grassed where 2 of those units are going.
That's correct.
So what we're saying is that grass is going to have to get removed.
There's going to be some
and
excavation.
make some type of permanent surface.
Yes.
Correct. You're parking trucks and boats and cars, and it's all on exposed earth right now, which, you know, you get what you get. I don't want to say fuel or whatever it is, but you're getting stuff this way here where it's a better detail, it's a better use than what we have now. Here's the alternate. The alternate to doing this is sea containers, and I think we know what sea containers are. By right, I can do the sea containers. I don't need to come through the boards because of the on-site drainage that we're trying to capture and try to put it back in the ground. And that's essentially what it is. It's a paved area that we're sticking units on. It's fairly straight and simple.
Any votes from the commission?
I don't see a construction drawing with details for hay bales or protection while you're doing excavation.
There will be an erosion control will be put along the top of the embankment all the way down from the limit of work line. This is dotted line here. All the way along that limit of work line and turning up, we'll have typically it's a straw wattle that we put in here. Works a little bit better than silt fence, but the nice thing about this area now is this pretty much drains inward and it's a very flat area. So we're not expecting and the proposed grading is all draining it inward and not down the embankment. So under this condition, we'll certainly add the erosion control line to it, but right now, the water, the stormwater isn't going there, it's going down to the existing detention basin, and that's where it'll continue to go. So no, we're not gonna get any overwash going toward the river.
If this underground recharging system, that's gonna have to get excavated?
Yes.
Okay, so,
That's why there's a replication.
yeah, the plan will have to show the hay bale line, because you are,
Correct. Now, from the commission standpoint, or a zoo, do you prefer the wattles, or do you prefer, or do you have any preference?
4-inch diameter, if it's a fairly level
Right.
area, yeah, but if you've got a steep embankment, then we want the hay bales.
Right.
Put it up against the silt fence.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's flat.
As long as they don't get close to the embankment, they will.
Right.
And there are some spots where they're getting pretty close to that embankment. They're filling some spots near the embankment, so.
okay, anything else? Everybody good? All right, so,
Anybody else in the audience?
I'm sorry, anybody in the audience? Nope. So you want to continue this?
Unless you're willing to issue an order of conditions tonight.
We'll do whatever you request.
Well, then, what's that? I would,
Construction in December, Jack, so.
Some hay bales, or that's the only detail you're looking
What is going to give us a source information for the drainage?
right, we're gonna get you the test pit information.
Yeah.
We'll add the wattles, the erosion control line to the plan, but I think those were the only two.
And then something that comes up in the additional review, we'll let him know, and then he can address it, so that, and then we'll have an order drafted, so that they can put it on that night.
So let's continue with that, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely.
So you want to request a continuation?
Sure. If we can make the next meeting, I don't wanna, like you say, I wanna put it in the ground this winter.
But the 19th
Ninth.
is not going to work.
No,
January
ninth.
9th. January 9th.
January 9th. Then we'll, because even if they continue to the 19th, we won't have the order drafted. So this way here, we'll have all the order drafted
For the 9th.
for the 9th, and then they can vote on it that night.
As long as we can vote on it that night, and
We're trying to move stuff out, really, trying to get things going.
Motion. One other question. Where's the stormwater going when you're making the modifications for the new system?
The detention basin, that will not be, the detention basin will remain in place until it's time for it, until the last minute.
All right, can I have a motion to continue?
Motion to continue to the 19th.
What are we
No.
what are we
They're out of here.
To January 9th.
what item are you continuing now?
Motion to continue, notice of intent, DEP, file number 2690969. 275 New State Highway, map 14, parcel 224, Jacamash Store Safe LLC.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Next on our agenda is a notice of intent for DEP file 269-0968, 228 South Main Street, map 14, parcel 89-0, Dan Andre Advanced Development.
98.
I'm sorry, 98.
You have to read it all again.
Right, gotta correct that, make sure Dawn gets that correct.
Dawn's record.
In accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Raynham local bylaw, the Raynham Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 5, 2018, at 5:30 p.m. in the Donello Mackinnon Meeting Room in Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall at 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass. On a notice of intent filed by Advanced Development Incorporated of P.O. Box 278, East Taunton, Mass. 02718. The applicant requests permission to construct a new duplex dwelling unit to replace the original two-family dwelling recently lost to a fire within 100 feet of the buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetland resource area. The work is subject to jurisdiction under the Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Raynham Wetland Bylaw. The property is owned by Raynham Land Trust and is located at 228 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass., and shown on the assessors map 14 as parcel 98.
Okay, all set, just state your name and firm.
Good evening, Joshua Borden on behalf of Dan Andrade and Advanced Development with Arthur F. Borden and Associates with an office in Raynham here. Pretty simple filing, right down the street here, just beyond King Philip Street. There was an old burnt down two-family home that Danny has since torn down. We are going to be replacing it with a proposed duplex. We'll be shifting the house just ever so slightly to meet setbacks and more centered on the lot. There are two existing curb cuts which we'll be using for the driveway so that each unit has their own access. We'll be using the existing water and existing sewer stubs that are on the property. And if anybody has any questions, I can certainly answer them, but it's pretty straightforward.
So the footprint isn't significantly different than what was there previously? Okay.
But it's a smaller footprint, but a little bit different shape.
Okay.
Much different shape than what was there.
But you're not encroaching on the wetland
Nope.
as far as
Nope.
what was previously done?
Nope.
Okay. Looks pretty
Yeah,
straightforward.
we had contacted them. Do we have the new plan and the filing fee update?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, both of those were delivered late last week too.
Okay.
It's a replacement, it's not a big deal.
So wait a minute now. All right. So we had contacted your office.
Yep.
To provide us an updated plan with these, with the surveyors, the engineers, because you did have a surveyor stamp on it.
Yep, it now has my engineer's tag on it as well.
Well, if the plan was dated, and I'm kind of confused. If the plan that you had submitted was in the plan?
Did we not add we might not have added a revision date. Yeah, there was no revision date added to the plan.
Got the old one?
Yeah, because there were, right.
We can easily submit a second plan
Yeah,
tomorrow
revision date, because
with a
that-
revision
it
date,
has
adding the
date.
engineering stamp. It wasn't,
Right, and then the engineering stamp is saying if the application was done on the 25th, on the 22nd, and...
we were just trying to keep everything consistent.
Consistent date? Okay.
Yeah, we were just trying to keep the dates consistent with the plan. But it was reviewed and tagged by my engineer. So if you need a revision date added to it.
Right, because then we can distinguish between what we...
Yeah, I can add a revision date to it.
Other than the revision date?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it?
As long as we can vote it tonight. If there aren't any.
Anybody on the commission have questions? Concerns? Anyone in the audience have concerns, questions?
Motion to close.
All right.
Motion to close, notice of intent, DEP file number 2690968, 228 South Main Street, map 14, parcel 98, Dan Andrade.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you guys very much.
And you'll get her that?
Yeah, I'll have that to, probably on Monday at this point. Thank you.
All right. Next up is a request for determination of 5 Commerce Way, map 15, parcel 176-2H, Columbia Gas. It's all highlighted for the 12.
In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Raynham local bylaw, the Raynham Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 5, at 5:30 p.m. in the Donald L. McKinnon Meeting Room in Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall at 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass. On a request for determination of applicability filed by Columbia Gas of Massachusetts, 16 Colony Road, York, Pennsylvania, 17408. The applicant requests a determination for proposed installation of a gas service connection located at 5 Commerce Way in Raynham, Mass. A portion of the proposed gas service connection route is located within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands and is subject to jurisdiction under the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Raynham Wetlands Bylaw. The property is owned by Schwann's Home Service Incorporated and is located at P.O. Box 35, Marshall, Minnesota, 56258.
All right, sir. Good evening. My name is Dana Altabello. I'm with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. I'm here representing Columbia Gas of Massachusetts, as you mentioned. This RDA is for the proposed gas main extension within Commerce Way. In total, approximately 200 linear feet of gas main will be installed up Commerce Way to provide access to gas from the new hotel, which is being constructed at 5 Commerce Way currently. All work will be done within existing paved roadways along their shoulders or within maintained lawn areas. A portion of the work will be done within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. The delineation of the wetland resource areas was performed by Brad Holmes of Environmental Consulting and Restoration in September of 2018. The service installation will be done using the open trench method. This involves the contractor only opening the length of trench that can be installed and backfilled in one day. No open trench or immaterial stockpile will be left overnight. There will be road plates maybe at the end if they can't do it all in one day, just so they don't have to damage the pipe when they dig it up the next day. There will be erosion controls installed at the limit of work, and no work will be done during rain events. As the pipe will be underground, there will be no permanent damage to or impacts to any of the area along the route itself. Since the work will be done during dry weather with erosion controls installed at the limit of work and all work being within the existing paved roadway or along the shoulders, with the trenches backfilled at the end of each workday, there should be no impacts to any of the resource areas along the route. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
So, Mr. Chairman, basically utility extension. So the staff would be recommending that a negative determination with requirement for erosion control in that no stockpiling of excavated material be allowed within 50 feet of the wetlands. And that if they have on-site storage or stockpiling, then they provide a ring of hay bale or erosion control around it.
Okay. Any commissions? Pretty straightforward. Yeah. Good. Anybody in the audience? Okay. Can I have a motion then?
Okay, motion to issue a negative determination on 5 Commerce Way, map 15, parcel 176, 2H, Columbia Gas, with the restrictions set forth by our consultant. So so I don't have to repeat all that.
Motion been made and seconded.
Second, I second.
Oh, I'm sorry, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Next on is a notice of intent, 0 Sparrow Lane, Lot 30, Map 9, Parcel 207-29C dash Lee. What? Castanetti. Raynham serves, okay. Whatever happened to Smith and Jones?
Yeah, the two notices were the same, so we filed the two notices together.
Okay. All right, so this is lot 30?
We have to take them individually.
Yeah, we're doing 29 now.
30. You're doing 29 and 30?
Well, you can,
They're both
you
lot
can
30.
vote to read them together, and vote to read them together.
Okay.
You can, if you make that determination, you can.
It would probably make sense to do it.
And read them up, you know.
Read them together.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a motion to read them together?
Motion to read them together.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Paul, you've been hired.
So I'm gonna read them, okay, let's read them. Okay. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Raynham Local Bylaw, the Raynham Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, on, that's a mistake,
What does it say?
on Thursday.
Is the date right, though?
Thursday, what? Date?
It's got the right date, but it's got the wrong day. It's on, should be Wednesday, December.
Wednesday?
No,
yeah.
it says Thursday.
December 5th.
December
And
5th.
The date's
No,
The
right.
date is what controls.
the date is correct, okay.
The
All right.
date.
December 5, 2018, at 5:30 PM, located at 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass, on a request for determination of applicability filed by Prime Engineering Incorporated. The applicant proposes construct a single-family dwelling with associated lawn, driveway, and grading. The only portion of the work within the 100-foot buffer zone is minor grading and lawn establishment. The property is owned by Raynham Preserve LLC and located at 0 Sparrow Way, Lot 30, Raynham, Mass, as shown on Assessors Map 9, Parcel 207-29C. I'm going to read another one now. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Raynham Local Bylaw, the Raynham Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 5th, 2018, at 5:30 PM, located at 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass, on a request for determination of applicability filed by Prime Engineering Incorporated. The applicant proposes construct a single-family dwelling with associated lawn, driveway, and grading. The only portion of the work within the 100-foot buffer zone is a minor grading, lawn establishment, and a portion of a single-family dwelling. The property is owned by Raynham Preserve LLC and located at 0 Sparrow Way, Lot. Excuse me, but the lot numbers don't,
Yeah, they don't match up.
so
Map and parcels and lot numbers do not match
this
up.
doesn't match up. It says 30 and 29, here it says 30 and 31,
It should be 31.
and 29,
It's 30 and
30 and 29.
but it doesn't say that. I'm saying the parcel, the second reading,
Yes, it should be
It
lot
says-
31, parcel,
2730-30-C.
Yeah.
30C, I'm sorry.
well, this says lot 31.
Yes, so the,
Hold on.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it should, can I just see it for a second, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, the lots,
Yeah, the lot numbers
match.
don't match, but the parcels,
yes, it's very confusing.
that's why I stopped.
yeah, no, wait a minute, the parcels don't even match here.
It's confusing, yeah.
This is 2017-30C, and the other one is correct, 207-29C.
the lot 30.
So the lot 30 is correct. The parcel number
Lot 31?
in lot 30, lot 31 is wrong. Somebody put instead of 207, they put 2017.
Oh, that's one proper description of the property.
That's a fat
Yeah.
finger.
Yeah, because, no, I mean, if you're saying about, see, the one with the date doesn't matter, because you have the right date. The problem is the one with the, describing the property. Because if you give the wrong description, and the people, potentially the people that would have been interested will say, oh, no, I'm not interested in that one. So you can hear the one with the right description, and you can't hear the other one without with the wrong description.
We can hear lot 30, the parcel 207-29C.
Yeah.
But we can't hear the other one.
That has to be re-advertised.
So the advertisement had 207, it said
217.
217.
Yeah.
I mean, it said 2017 instead of 207.
Okay.
Okay? But the first one is good. Because that's map 9, parcel 207.
As long as it says it there.
Yeah.
I would mention that the abutters lists for both properties are the same. You know, they're together, and all the abutters for one property would be for the same
that's,
property.
yeah, abutter notification might be well, but it's what is advertised to the public. The public notice, that's really the critical aspect. I mean, obviously, nobody else in the abutter showed up, but it's not just the abutters that you are noticing, right? Because any 10 citizens can get it together and say, no, we oppose this, right? So, just for that technicality.
So be it.
Yeah, so we'll do the one that was properly noticed.
Okay.
Very good. So again, my name is Evan Watson from Prime Engineering, represents Raynham Preserve LLC. We're here for 2 proposed house lots in the Raynham Preserve, formerly known as Bassett Knoll subdivision. Here on the board, I have just kind of a zoomed out view so we can have an understanding of where we are. North is towards me. We're on Locust Street. The water tower is a little ways down that way.
On the opposite side, across the street?
Across, yeah, the water tower is somewhere down, yeah. Yep. So this is on the east side of the street. Okay. This is the entrance to Raynham Preserve. And right now, the paved portion of the road comes down Goldfinch Drive. It ends here, and we come down Sparrow Way. And if you go here, you can see that there's houses all along through here. This is set up as a conservation OSPD subdivision. It was designed and approved under that bylaw, and we have an active order of conditions from the commission to do all of that work. Now, one of the great things about the OSPD is that we identify where the resource areas are and try to take the development as far away as possible from that. So there's actually a small wetland resource area in this zone across the back, and there's one little portion that comes right up here. And so all these houses that we've been putting in and most of this road work has been outside of the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. So when we got down to this corner here, this is where we're looking at, because just in the backyard we have some of the buffer zone. Just to show you again, this is the original plan done by McKenzie Engineering, and you can see there's no buffer zone anywhere around any of these lots, and then right through here we have this wetland resource area between wetland flag 124 and 156. And forgive me, we're talking about lot 31?
Lot 30.
Lot 30. Okay, so that's the one in the corner. So that's the lot here on the corner. It's at the end of Sparrow Way. We did, we have the basement up above the groundwater. We have a sewer here for this subdivision. We don't need a septic system or anything like that. The drainage lot is right here in the back. And like I was saying, we've done a good job with the original design, keeping as much work as possible outside of jurisdictional areas. So the plan, you can't even see where the resource area is here. It's off the page. And the 100-foot buffer zone just comes into the back of the yard here like this. To the rear of the lot, there's proposed to put a silt fence. There should already be some form of erosion control there from when the initial tree clearing was done. And we would basically replace that, upgrade that with some fresh silt fence. You can see that it's relatively flat in the backyard. We've done a cross-section of what's going on here. So this is the plan view. We cut a section and turn it sideways. This is the road. We come up to the house, walk-out basement, and basically a flat yard out to the property line where the limit of erosion control is. And all of that work is outside of the 50-foot to resource areas. And then at the property line, all the existing vegetation is just gonna stay.
So you're clearing up to the tree line?
Yeah, the tree line is already there. So that was, we came in before they cut the trees and had to have that approved. So with these OSPD subdivisions, you get half of the available land. So with the amount of grading that's required here, there's not a lot of trees that could be saved. So basically most of the lots have been cleared of trees already.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. The lawn is going to be established up to the tree line?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Azu?
Yeah, I don't have any issue with it.
Looks pretty straightforward, huh?
Do we want to put any signage?
I think that's already there.
No, because they're not even near 25 feet.
Oh,
25 feet is
I'm
already
sorry.
there.
I'm sorry, I thought they were up against it.
No.
Nope, beyond it, okay.
No.
This is the 50-foot, I didn't highlight it, but it's off the property.
Okay. They could have
They're at the
done,
25-foot buffer.
Evan, you could have done on this one here, a request for determination, right? Because you have more than 50 feet away.
Yeah, we just wanted to cover our base, you know what I mean? Because it's a couple of the firsts that we've been before the commission here, so we wanted to.
No, because the Wetlands Protection Act, if you're staying at 50 feet away, you can do a request. So for the future reference, if you.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Save you some money.
So, all right, any other commissions have any questions in?
No.
Anybody in the audience? No?
Yeah, with him.
All right.
Close the hearing?
Motion to close the hearing, second?
Second?
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If you want to take a motion to issue the order, and then you can go individually and sign it, because it'll be more than 21 days before the 9th.
Okay.
So we can draft the order, and then
Just send us.
right, and tell you, so, but you have to vote now
Yep.
to go in individually and sign it.
Okay, do I have a motion?
A motion to issue. And for, which one are we doing? Notice of intent, Sparrow
Lot
Lane,
30.
Lot 30, map 9, partial 207, 30C. Is that the right one?
That is correct, yep.
Okay. And commissioners will go in once the order is established to sign.
Very good. Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sorry, just educational. I came to ask questions about an order of conditions for my property.
Okay.
Why don't you go?
You could just go up to the mic and.
I didn't know if I had to be on the schedule or.
Actually,
All you had to do was come into the office.
Yeah, you could have come into the office, but
That's okay.
you're here now.
But you're here now.
Okay. It was good to see the whole
You've got an
process.
education, so.
I recommend that you find them.
Just state your name and your address.
Okay, Matthew Henry, 113 Crimson Street, Lot 5.
formerly Lot
Alright.
5.
Know the area well.
DEP file number?
I'm sorry, what's that?
DEP file number?
I don't know any, I'm a homeowner, I don't know any of that.
And you're looking
Just to say, as a homeowner, you should have it.
Thank you.
I bought 113 Crimson Street, I don't know what the DEP
So
number
it's
is.
113 Crimson?
Yeah, Lot 5, which is formerly Lot 5.
Telephone number?
The house is 508-967-7192.
What I'm gonna have to do is look for it, and then I'll give you a call when I have it.
I think I might have it. Again, I'm just a Joe Schmo. I looked it up online.
Concom office goes by DEP file number, so I'll have to search for it.
I think I found it online, but it's probably the wrong one, but I have it on my A form, which I think is required for this.
What are you looking to do with
Well, that's
certificate of
sort
compliance?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to come here, to make sure I have the right stuff.
Okay.
So I have in front of me the July 1, 2013 regulations from the town. And I,
You just want to shoot me an email tomorrow, I'll just give you everything you need.
oh, okay, great.
That's
So I
my
didn't have to
email.
sit here for the whole
You
thing.
didn't.
Oh,
My email is online, so if you, on the website, so all you gotta do is click on it, and it'll contact me.
okay, and I do own the 37 acres next, that abuts to my land, but that's a separate, that's, I don't need to apply for an order for that, do I? I just need to,
Only if you had have a DEP file number on it, so that's something we'd have to check out.
okay, so the reason why I want the order of conditions, because my wife wants to put a pool in. And so I
Yeah,
think
and
the
that-
pool is only on that one piece, so I think that's what I need it for.
They're separate pieces.
See what the order of conditions says.
Okay.
And what's in the plan, and go from there.
That should get an email, it'll
Yeah.
be easy.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you all.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I came back. I wanted to confirm because it's confusing, all the lot numbers. It's coincidence that lot 30 is also lot number 30 on the assessor's map. So I wanted to just make sure. Lot 30 is 29. Be 100% that we did the right one.
We did lot 30,
Yep.
map 9, 207-29C.
Yeah, so lot 30, so what I presented to you was lot 30. Was lot. Oh, it was lot 30.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Usually they say the lot 30, and the last map parcel should be 30, but
Yeah,
they're all
so,
off.
yeah.
They're all off.
The quick backstory to that is it was originally presented as a regular subdivision. And so for a decade, at least a decade, it had new assessors numbers.
Yeah.
So then when they went back, if those portions of that lot were on a lot 30, it got divided up into 30 A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
Then you went to the next one, so it is very confusing. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Walk out of here. Thank you.
All right, back to general business.
Actually, can we go back, it's still under formal to,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, that's right.
Riverwalk?
Under formal, we have a continued notice of intent for New State Highway, Church Street, map 16, parcel 55, Dan Andre, Raynham Riverwalk LLC. They, Gil.
They're continuing. They don't have enough information. They haven't been before planning and anything like that, so they want to continue to January, January
Nice.
23rd.
Oh, January 23rd? Oh,
January
good.
23rd.
So I need a motion that since it was formal, correct?
Yeah, a motion to continue notice of intent for New State Highway, Church Street, map 16, partial 55, Daniel Andrade, Riverwalk LLC, to January 23rd.
Second?
Motion been made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, unanimous. All righty. Correspondence.
None really. I was going to put Andrew's letter there, but we've already taken care of that. Anderson's, I'm sorry. So we're all set with that one.
Indrasen.
Indrasen, 51 Richmond Street.
I have a question on that. I didn't bring it up before. There were enough questions going
Well,
on.
then you can't really start discussing, because you already discussed it.
Yeah,
And you had.
because the parties aren't involved here, so.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay.
So we need to do a site visit for that property. So since we're doing a site visit, can you bring up a question? We're talking about site visits?
If you're kind of talking specifically about site visit, but if he has something to do with the discussions you had earlier, no.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. You will be, because you're on TV too. So.
Okay, yep, all right.
I hear you, thank you.
All right, so we need to come up with a date for a site visit to the properties involved.
Yep.
I would suggest that you give us your dates, that you're available.
Well, how about January 9th?
Not gonna happen.
No, I'm available this Friday. I can do this Friday. I can do Monday. Those are the two that I know I can do right now.
If more than two of you are going, Friday's not gonna work because I'd have to advertise it, so, or you go
No, just push
separately.
it. Oh, yeah,
First of all, who can make it?
Today's already Wednesday.
Today's already Wednesday, so, yeah.
Right, who could make it or who wants to go, let's put it that way.
I'd like to go.
I can make it if you can't.
All right,
He works.
all right, so this'll work good. So we have two fresh eyes to look at it, because I've been out there numerous times. For Monday?
Yeah.
Give them a date and time and.
Yeah, Monday's, what?
Azu's buying coffee.
Well, that means Azu wouldn't show up. Is it the 10th? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the 10th.
10?
Yeah,
Monday,
1
10th.
o'clock?
1?
Yeah.
December 10th at 1 o'clock.
I better put it in my tin right
Be here
now.
and then go over?
Yeah. And so you want to send them, notify those two people, the two owners, Andrunas, oh, actually three, Andrunas, Indrasen, and the young lady at 61. Yeah.
Yeah, the one at 51.
61.
The only other thing we have regarding site visits is we need to figure out what we're going to do for a site visit about the complaints for South Street.
Yeah, that's what, so we can do that after this one here, head over that way.
Would you guys be available to go to look at South Street?
Okay.
Okay?
So if you're gonna have a quorum for that one.
Nope, we're not gonna have a quorum.
Okay.
Just the two of them.
Just the two of them.
Okay.
So you guys can make a day of it.
Yeah, so so we go, we go to the
Now
Perennial.
we're talking lunch.
We get lunch out of ours.
Okay, anybody else have anything? No?
No, I should do it.
I need one more
Make a
motion.
motion that we adjourn.
Paul's favorite motion. Seconded?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I was second my own motion.